And meanwhile, more than half the population wasn't represented in Parliament at all, another cause of tension in this so-called Golden Age.
These pictures show women protesting for the right to vote. They chain themselves to the railings outside Buckingham Palace. The police drag them away. It's quite a contrast from the image of demure, Edwardian femininity captured by Horace Nichols. But that's what these women were fighting against. The delusion that women were somehow second-rate, a fairer, weaker sex.
Women in 1900 were second-class citizens in British society. Working women earned on average just half the salaries of men for the same job. They were excluded from numerous trades and professions. They were barred from most trade unions. And without the vote, they lacked the political clout to challenge this discrimination.
The history of women and the history of photography are linked, because photography was one of those trades people thought was suitable for middle-class women. You read these articles in women's magazines describing photography as genteel and ladylike. But what they meant was portrait photography, studio photography, nice and elegant and safe. But what you didn't get much were women using the camera the way I use a camera, out in the streets, recording the world around them. The exception to that rule, the first British female photojournalist, was a woman called Christina Broome.
Mrs. Albert Broome was forced into photography late in life when her husband suffered an accident with a cricket ball. All of a sudden, she found herself in her 50s having to support him rather than the other way around. She bought herself an old box plate camera. She, like Horace Nichols, went to the races. She asked a jockey if she could take a photograph, and it turned out she'd snapped Roxanne, the winner of that year's Derby. She sold the snap to the newspapers. It was syndicated, and her career in the competitive male world of freelance photography began. She took pictures of the boat race, of royalty. She set up a postcard shop selling topical views. But the pictures for which she's best remembered show the struggle for women's votes.
Apparently she was a bit short, so she'd elbow her way forward through the crowds at the suffragette rallies and set up a tripod as close to the speakers as possible. She took this one on Women's Sunday, a rally in Hyde Park in 1908. For me, this picture has a real sense of immediacy. I think it's because of the low angle. You really feel you're there with them.
Women have to obey the law equally with men. Should we not then have a voice in deciding what those laws should be? So many laws have been passed that are unequal for men and women, and these laws won't be changed until women get the vote.